Well, what do you know? As if you couldn't get enough of Charizard's family just like Game Freak. Now we have Charmander, one of the most widely recognized Pokemon in the entire franchise. This adorable little fireball has been winning hearts on its own since the 90s, both as one of the original starter trio and as part of Ash's team in the anime, and of course Red's starter in the Pokemon Origins anime, although not his starter in Pokemon Adventures. Charmander, of course, is one of those Pokemon strongly tied to the Pokemon franchise as a whole. In fact, it's almost synonymous with it. And its evolution definitely is. And what else can I say about Charmander? It's Charmander, one of the original starters. Today we'll examine if this translated into any sort of success in the cutthroat competitive scene. And so we ask, how good was Charmander actually? And in this video we'll be going over these competitive formats. Generation 4 was where Little Cup was first being played competitively, and sadly, Charmander was not too viable at all. Now, there were plenty of good fire types. Houndour was a great lead, pursuiter, and mid-game Pokemon. Chimchar was an excellent lead, and Ponyta was a vicious mid and late-game threat. Even Magby, who faced strict competition with Elekid, was a fierce mixed attacker in its own right. Charmander wasn't just outclassed by other fire types, it wasn't good. Period. And it wasn't for lack of differentiating factors either. It was the only fire type with Dragon Dance, which theoretically should have put it in a unique spot as far as late game sweeping went. However, it was generally far too vulnerable to priority, with its Stealth Rock weakness and Flare Blitz recoil. One was far better off using other Dragon Dancers like Dratini, Bagon, or Totodile, who did not share these flaws. Totodile even had the supposed advantage Charmander had, which was being a Dragon Dancer that cut through Bronzor. Charmander wasn't outright bad, but if you were using it, chances are you were doing so because you wanted to use Charmander. It wasn't going to be because it was genuinely the best, most competitively minded choice for the role. And so Charmander didn't have much of a place in the first official competitive generation of Little Cup. In Generation 4, Charmander at least hit pretty hard. In Generation 5, it didn't even have that. Everything was incredibly bulky thanks to Eviolite, so what you were left with was a sweeper that was useless offensively, especially with how popular and effective the Hippopotas-led sand teams that completely destroyed it were. When the likes of Larvesta were running around, nobody would be caught using Charmander. One might wonder, what about something like Choice Scarf's solar power Charmander under Vulpix's sun? Surely that'd be quite a threat. Well, maybe, if not for the fact that Vulpix was banned. As a result, Charmander was completely unusable, so nobody used it at all. That pained us to say, but at least it was over quickly. Whether no longer being permanent meant Vulpix returned to Little Cup, did this mean there was potential for Charmander and its Scarf solar power antics? Well, it wound up being kind of a DPP situation. Technically, it could do something, since its fire moves did destroy pretty much anything without an immunity or quadruple resistance, but in practice, it was too flawed for anyone to actually want to use it for anything that mattered. Charmander was simply too frail, especially with its Stealth Rock weakness and solar power eating into its health, making actually bringing it onto the field quite the arduous task, and meaning it was almost automatically in range for all the priority attackers in the tier, to say nothing of the fact that it was on a timer to even switch in at all, since it had to be brought onto the field while Sun was active in order to do what it was supposed to. If one was trying to abuse Sun, there were much more reliable choices, mostly chlorophyll users like Bellsprout, Bulbasaur, Deerling, and Oddish. Once again, Charmander wasn't terrible in and of itself, it just wasn't worth using over more reliable choices, and as a result, Charmander was once again not used in Little Cup. Despite its sun no longer being permanent, Vulpix's drought was overbearing once again in Generation 7. The addition of Z-moves to already dangerous sun sweepers like Bellsprout really pushed the playstyle over the edge, as did the nerfing of Fletchling's Gale Wings that knocked it out of viability. As a result, it wasn't too long before Vulpix was banned, and thus any chance for Charmander to Scarf solar power its way to a shred of viability disappeared. It was left to sit in the shadows and do nothing. If one had to name a set for it, it'd be Dragon Dance, but really the best Charmander set was to use almost any other Pokemon instead. Ouch, that was even shorter than Gen 5. Alright, finally the part where we demonstrate that this video isn't just sheer sadism. In Generation 8, Chlorophyll was banned and other sun abusers were finally given a chance. As a result, Charmander rose and became the sun abuser. Its issues of frailty remained, and it wasn't exactly the most consistent, reliable choice, but it finally found its place. Generation 8 had also given Charmander Weather Ball, which was incredibly strong and easily spammed, unlike Fire Blast, with its cursed accuracy woes. That said, Fire Blast's extra power could be key in certain situations, letting Charmander rip through through bulky Pokemon through sheer strength. It even had good odds to 2-hit KO Mariani with Stealth Rock up. Charmander's ability to outrun other common Scarfers like Magnemite and Mudbray also gave it a huge disadvantage in several late game scenarios. Increased distribution in Defog made it easier to keep Stealth Rock off now, and there were more switch moves now thanks to Flip Turn and a buff Teleport, making it easier to get Charmander on the field to wreak destruction. And oh boy did it wreak destruction. Its power was stunning. Anything without a resist was absolutely melted. For example, bulky Mienfoo was cleanly wiped by Fire Blast and almost always by Weather Ball. Even a resist needed a lot of bulk investment to stand a chance, as seen in the aforementioned Mariani example. Once Charmander hit the field, unless there was a Flash Fire Ponyta, something on the opposing team was almost assuredly going down. At long last, Charmander had been given the opportunity to do in the competitive scene what everyone had always done in game: spam fire moves at every opportunity. And so Charmander holds a solid, unique place in Generation 8 Little Cup. And that's it. So how good was Charmander actually? Well, for most of Little Cup's existence, it's been a completely non-entity, eternally outclassed by nearly everything around it. However, the cards finally fell in its favor in Generation 8. Without chlorophyll Pokemon around to outclass it in the Sun Abuse department, Charmander stepped up and unleashed its Choice Scarf Solar Power Terror, spamming fire moves and deleting nearly everything in its path. And so it's really true what they say: every Pokemon has its day. And even if Charmander doesn't have its day, it's still one of the most popular Pokemon of all time. So at least it's got that. Thank you for watching, everyone. And as always, if you liked the video and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to False Swipe Gaming for more weekly Pokemon content. And in the comments, I want to know, what do you think about competitive Charmander? What would you give it to have it have something over the other fire types besides Dragon Dance and Solar Power? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments. Also, thank you so much to our patrons for continued support of our videos. And thank you to everyone else watching as well. And follow my crew on these social media platforms. And that's all I got. See you next time, everyone.